Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rumboyz Fantasy Network. Here today, joined with Raj from ESPN Los Angeles. What's going on, brother?
I'm all right, man. How you doing out there?
Yo, you just said that. I just looked out the window. It's snowing.
Oh,
but sorry. It's okay. In like another hour or so, it'll be summer again.
Well, we're going through dire straits as well out here. I think it's only going to reach like 70 today, something like that. Clear skies, but I actually had to put on a hoodie this morning, so it's rough out here too, bro. It's rough. I had to put on the heavy equipment, bro.
Cheers to me. Cheers to you, all the wrong boys and girls. What it do? Raj always has a way of making sure that I feel bad about living in Colorado, but we have things that make it all right, so it's all good.
It's no budget.
Fact. So we do have NFL football to talk about. All jokes aside, a lot of crazy things happening in the NFL within the last 2-3 weeks. The NFL's really showing themselves to us, Raj. They're really showing themselves. Have you heard a rumor that AB may be coming back, by the way?
Christina Anderson the other day off the air, and she's like, "Oh, hang on, AB's calling me." So, she hit me back. This was prior to his very heartfelt and sincere apology that I'm sure you saw on his Instagram and Twitter. First of all, I knew it wasn't his because the grammar was correct and everything was spelled right. All right, I see you, Drew Rosenhaus. That was all you. I mean, I'm not touching it this year. I don't care what my team looks like. I don't care how desperate we are for a wide receiver. I'm not doing it, bro. You know what this dude will show you. He don't give a damn. A year ago, he was on a team. He's been on 3 teams in the last calendar year. Effed off, I don't know how many millions of dollars. Yep. What more does he have to show you? I'm not messing with him. You can have him. So if he's coming, that's great. Y'all can have him, whoever it is.
Yep. Whatever team you guys deal with that headache. If you end up getting the scoop, feel free to hit my phone and be like, "Hey, man, just got the phone with the team. You got to wait till ESPN says it, but I got your back."
I'm cool.
What's that?
I said, no, I'm cool. Y'all can have that.
First game that we are going to get in and cover actually decides some playoff potentiality. The winner of tonight's game between Les Colts and Houston Texans will result in whoever wins tonight pretty much having a 74% chance at winning the AFC South. With that being said, Raj, take it away.
Yeah, interesting game. I'm among those surprised by the Colts being able to stay atop with Jacoby Brissett playing quarterback. This game, it's interesting. I think Houston's favored by 3.5. It's in Houston. It's weird with Deshaun Watson. He was in MVP talk before last week's stinker. That's like his third stinker of the year. Have great games. I know he's going to go back to being super. He's going to go back and have a great game, I'm sure. But the Colts are just sneaky. They just keep trugging along. They're 3-0 in the division. Obviously, it's a divisional game, like you say, all the playoff implications on it. I like the Colts not only to cover this game, but to win. And I watch them. I don't see anything special. You look at the Colts. Brissett's keeping it. Your guy Mac's going to be out. Okay, fine. Plug in Jonathan Williams. Plug in the other guy. I mean, it's just this team is interesting. This Colts team, no matter what type of adversity, they just keep on coming through. I know T.Y. is questionable, but even without him, they've been able to keep their heads above water. So I guess it's one of those games where, okay, I don't know how they're going to do it, why they're going to do it, but I think the Colts hang in this game, and I think they can sneak out. I think they can sneak out a W. I'm just not that impressed with Houston. I just haven't been. I never believed in the Watt thing, I think I'll take Colts on this one, and just you don't know how they're going to get done, but they get it done. And have you been a little underwhelmed with DeAndre Hopkins this year? Maybe I'm just speaking from a fantasy aspect.
Oh yeah. So I have DeAndre Hopkins in a very valuable league, the Scott Fishbowl League. I don't know if you've heard of SBF 9. Sure. All the big fantasy analysts play it. And yeah, he has definitely disappointed me as my first round pick. But luckily, the rest of my team, I don't know how, is solid enough because they're filled with a bunch of nobodies that I'm doing well in Scott Fishbowl, actually.
All right.
Yeah. Shocker. It's a real shocker, actually. because I can't win none of my regular stuff. Actually, no, I'm doing really good. I take that back. But anyways, with this game, this one's tough. Thursday night is always weird in the NFL. I feel like they've now we're in the thick of the season. They've got things down packed on the Thursday night games. So I'm kind of pulling away from my superstition with Thursday nights.
All right.
Colts negative. They are -3, I believe. Negative three in turnover differential. And then the Texans are +1. So I think that's going to be a big area of where either one of these teams are going to come away with the W. Also, with that being stated, it's going to be a battle in the trenches. Deshaun Watson had beautiful pockets set up for him along that offensive line the last time these two teams met. Now, I also want to make sure that I also add, with this being stated, that the last time these two teams met, Deshaun Watson had a very big problem reading a very simple coverage of the Indianapolis Colts, that be it the cover 2. I'm sorry, for you to be an MVP caliber quarterback, you're throwing 18 TDs this year and you're struggling against a cover 2. You can't realize that they really bring 5 DBs down across the middle and 2 safeties in the back, and you're still throwing where everyone is. That I have an issue with. So for that, I just want to utilize that play-by-play breakdown to add validation to your pick, but I am going to go with the Texans due to the fact that they are going to have to step up that game plan, do something a lot different defensively, because if you show him a simple scheme like that, it worked that time. I don't think that it's going to work a second time against someone that was in MVP talks.
Got it.
Yeah. Let's see here. I came ready to rock today. Woo! We got through that one pretty quick. Giants and Bears. Go ahead.
Yeah.
He's not here. You want to have it. You want to do it.
So, if those who know, Ty's in here. He's on his way to Chicago to a tryout for the Chicago Bears quarterbacking job. It's so funny when watching that game last week's game against the Rams. Yeah. And he talked to him. He put his arm around Trubisky and is like, yeah, you have a hip injury. No, I don't. Yes, you do. We're going to take you out because your hip hurts. No, it doesn't. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does, son. Come on, man. We know damn well your hip ain't hurting. So that was a benching, and you had to talk. That was a console. That was someone coming to get you Darvish off the mound in Game 7 after you done blow it up against the cheating Astros. That was that type of talk. So, but nevertheless, that was a benching. The talk. When you put your arm around a guy like that, Rob, that means you're coming out of the game. So, and it's like you can't admit that seemed like, damn, we done effed up. We effed up this pick so bad, and now we're benching you. But this is a weird game. Gosh, where do you go with this one? It's an ugly game to me. Is one I watch just for fantasy purposes, I guess. Still waiting for Montgomery to do his thing, but he's second among rookies in rushing yards. I think about 500 yards. But this is a tough one. I think with all the scrutiny that the Bears received all week and all the questions about their quarterback, this type of game I think they could go on and win. You're at home facing a Giants team that's obviously bad. So I'll go ahead and take the Bears in this one. I want to see what happens with Barkley. I'm scared of that. I know we turn to fantasy a lot.
Yeah.
That shutdowns, whisper, talks worries me because if I'm the Giants, what the hell am I playing Barkley for? Running backs have a limited shelf life as is. Why am I playing him? So that scares me if you're in your fantasy. And most leagues, today is actually deadline day. So it's trade deadline day. Something about dynasty leagues. Like, ooh, I'm scared in one of mine. In regular league, not a dynasty league. In a 1-year league, I'm like, I might sell somebody some goods that are going to a stock that's falling, in my opinion, in Barkley. But anyway, I think Bears bounce back. Lots of attention all week. They'll be all right.
This one is going to be tough, but at the same time, for someone that awfully bad wants to trademark their name, Danny Dimes. Sure as hell can't hang on to the ball. Okay. I know, and I play with guys and flag that have, been on practice squads, on NFL practice squads, and I see them hold on to the ball better than freaking Daniel Jones, and they don't have a job. Okay? Danny Dimes, I'm sorry, you are a tarnished dime that's stuck out there in the snow out here where I live, just getting ran over by cars that are called linemen over and over and over. And that's going to happen during this game. Start the Bears defense this game in fantasy. They're going to get turnovers. It is what it is. On the offensive side of the ball, the Bears will do enough to manage. Speaking of it being trade deadline day, let's try. If you can move on from Saquon because of a possible benching, hurry up, get rid of him, sell him, pitch him purely on the fact of his name. So we'll go for that luster. And as well as Allen Robinson, if Trubisky's going to be sitting the rest of the year, he's probably going to decline as well.
Good call.
Thank you, man. Next game up, the Lions versus the Skins.
You got to go first on this. It's your boys. Go ahead. Preach to me. How will the Skins get another victory?
In the words of Dwayne Haskins, what do I have to do to help you? I have to do to help you. Help me help you. Look, I know that Morgan Moses for our offensive line, he states that they weren't laughing at Haskins. He states that he understands that Haskins was just seeking guidance and having them be able to help communicate with him. But that looked like a cry out for help to me. Okay, and this organization, this culture needs to change. The culture that Bruce Allen likes to talk about. Oh, we have a good culture here. What culture? I heard better culture on Amigos album, not one, but part 2 as well. With that being stated, hashtag fire Bruce Allen. I'm not going to say fire Dan Schneider. I feel like that's a big step because who the hell else is going to sign checks? No one wants to buy the Redskins. The only NFL team continue on with a racist name pretty much, okay? So no one wants to buy us, all right? So I'm not going to say fire Schneider, but we do need a new GM. Fire Allen. Lions, you guys will win by. I'm gonna take the spread of this one. It'll be a 3-point game. Okay.
Don't disagree. That'll be a close game. In fact, I think Detroit's favored by only 3.5. So you're right on there. In terms of culture, I mean, I know you can't fire the owner, but it's like I'm a Cowboy fan. The culture will never change as long as Jared's there. That's just the way it is. You like it, you love it, whatever. But I just can't take a team that scores 12.5 points a game, that being Washington. I'm very intrigued with Darius Geis. I'd love to see him. He's like, yeah, I got to see him last week. Nice 45-yard catch. I know you saw that catch and run. That was pretty. But just watching that team play and the struggle. And I saw a basic 7-yard and Haskins threw this ball like as if I would. I wasn't sure if the loft. I wasn't sure where the lead was. He just threw it in a direction of a receiver. Now, I didn't sit and watch the whole game. I'm not going to sit and lie to you until I watch the whole Jets and Redskin game. But I just, right now, not saying quarterbacks can't get better, but from what I see in Haskins, I don't trust it. I can't get behind it. I have to take the Lions in this one and riding Bo Scarborough, riding that. And Jeff Driscoll, riding that train. I'm rolling there, man.
I hope, really quick with Scarborough, I hope that you guys invested fab budget this week and you went and you got Scarborough. Definitely should have went and gotten Bo Scarborough. Hang on, son. Come here. But with that being said, I do want to state that I feel like Haskins, he does have the will to want to win. So when you have will and you're determined like that, I actually like seeing him kind of make that plea to his offensive lineman because that shows that you don't want to lose and you do not like the current situation that you're in. Case Keenum didn't have that attitude. The last person that we had that attitude was Alex Smith, and then oh my gosh, my legs. So I do like that direction, because if you have that type of tenacity and that type of moxie in you, then you're clearly the one sitting back studying film. You're clearly the one looking to get better, while everyone else around you is content with just getting a game check. So yeah. Next game, Buccaneers, Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan, Jameis Winston, Raj.
I actually think this is an intriguing game. It's definitely intriguing in terms of fantasy. Like, this is one that I actually want to see. Like, Matt Ryan, I know, was he questionable for this game? I think he's still questionable at the time we write this. I know he's not going to have his tight end back, but this is an intriguing game to me. Winston, you know what he does. I mean, he's probably one of the best garbage time quarterbacks we've ever seen in the National Football League. Put up numbers, but will make mistakes. Is it going to be Evans? Is it going to be Godwin in terms of his receivers? Like, there's a lot of fantasy tools around there. But the weird part, I know the Falcons have won a couple. I mean, their defense is actually playing very well. That's the surprising part to me. The Falcons, we've been talking about their defense. I know that our guy Ty was really disappointed. He had talked up their defense early in the year, and they were letting them down. But hey, don't look now, but their defense is doing well, and the one that's actually winning the games for them. Of course, they only gave up 3 points to Carolina. But divisional game here, I'm going to ride with the defense of the Falcons, and I'm going to go ahead and believe in them. I think, were you one of the guys that went out after, what's my man's name, the running back that for the Falcons that got this start?
I did not go after Brian Hill.
I did. I just because of opportunity, and he stunk it up for me and burnt me a couple spots. Even in Delhi, in the DFS stuff, he got me good there. But I just think the Atlanta riding off their defense should get it done. Quinn's done well against the Bucs in his career. Tampa Bay's a -10 in terms of turnover ratio. Atlanta not much better at a -8, but yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll take Atlanta in this one. Now, if you're playing point spread and I think it's a 4-point game, be careful on that one, because I do think the Bucs can score enough, especially garbage time, to hang in there with them. But give me the Falcons for this one.
Bucs have had it tough as of late. The Falcons have kind of found the hot hand, which, I mean, that alone has enough validation to probably pick them. But I feel like right now, I mean, with there being no Devante Freeman in that backfield, Ronald Jones is just, significantly a little bit better. I don't actually want to use the word significantly. He is just a little bit better than Hill on that end. Got Godwin, you got Evans, right? But then they also have Ridley and Julio, but they don't use Julio the proper way. And I feel like this is going to be one of those games where you're probably going to need them. I think the Bucs can probably do something here.
Okay.
Yeah, but in a very, very close, like it's going to be like off the leg of Matt Gay that this one will work. With that being stated too, though, like you mentioned, Jameis Winston, the king of garbage time, startable. He's startable. Unfortunately, crazy enough.
He's that guy. Don't you feel so dirty? Like, submit. Like, even when you start him, because he's going to put up numbers, but it's in such a loserman way, and the turnovers are going to come. But gosh, the chunks of yards are going to be there. The receivers and the weapons he has. And you see, they benched O.J. Howard. By the way, he had a touchdown in the gloves. Went off his hands to another guy. Come on, get on the bench. Right after he had a chance to have 2 back-to-back games for the first time in his NFL career. Blew it.
Man, I tell you, when O.J. Howard tried to catch the ball like this, I was like, you're done. You're fired. You're done. You're gone. I don't know who's going to pick you up, but somebody will pick you up. Mark, he hasn't made a catch since the goddamn ALCS game when the Rays were in the playoffs. Like, my gosh. I couldn't believe it. Funny enough, really quick, when I was on the field Saturday, we literally had a dude caught it dead in his hands, but then, like, the way he went down, he ended up like kind of almost sitting on the ball. Like it was a fumble. It was clearly a catch and a fumble. And he's talking about, I was sitting on the ball. That's not a fumble. Like, when have you ever heard anyone sit on the ball and be like, I recovered it?
Page 2, Section 4, Rule 30 says if you're sitting on the ball, I think he was okay. You didn't read that part of the rule book. That's on you, Robbie. That's on you.
I literally stopped all play on the field. I just fell out laughing. I was like, oh my God. Next game, Broncos versus the Bills. The Battle of the Allens.
Oh, I didn't think of that. What do you got on that?
What are you thinking?
This is funny. On this thing where I have to play the games, the teams plus the point spread. That's the first games up there. And, I was big on the Bills earlier in the year, like really big on them, picking them most of the time. And I was like, been disappointing me a little bit. They're still good. They seem better on the road. I think they're 4-1 on the road and only 3-2 at home. Yeah. But they worry me, man, like lately. And Josh Allen's like, he's another one. He gets things done, but if you took away running or rushing stats for a quarterback, he'd be garbage. You know what I'm saying? And he being Josh Allen. So makes me feel weird. And you saw Denver blow that game. There was a point in that game last week. I don't know if you're a Denver fan, and I'm sure there are plenty of Denver fans listening, but it must have made you sick. It was late in the game. It was 3rd and 7. Booker hadn't run the ball all damn game. You decide to give the ball to Booker. I was like, okay, that's fine if you're going to go for it on 4th. But no, 3rd and 7, you get the ball to Booker. He gets 4 yards. Then you proceed to try a field goal in which you miss. That's how you lose games. That's how you get fired. That was just dumb. If you're going to run the ball on 3rd, set up 4th down and go for it, that's fine. Go ahead. I didn't get that. So they were like, they weren't even playing not to lose. I know they say you play to win or play not to lose. They were just, I don't know what they were doing there. But having said that, I'll go back to the with the Broncos, or excuse me, with Buffalo. I just think Denver finds ways to lose too often for me to trust them. I've got to go with the Bills getting it done ugly fashion. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. It might be that time of the year where it gets a little ugly over there. But I'll take the Bills and winning this game. And it's just a game that if you're gambling, it'll drive you nuts. Stay away from it if at all possible.
By the way, it's so great that that's legal now, by the way, which was like such a big inspiration and a pedestal for starting this show. You guys
was it legal before?
Huh?
Oh, it was illegal before? Because I've been doing it for okay, never mind.
Look, me as a military veteran, like I would literally have that thought process too. Like that was what? But you know what happens on military installations, guys.
Sure.
No, I'm gonna actually ride with the weather on this one. When it starts getting cold up there in Buffalo, there are too many times throughout history where that's when this team, and usually back in history they were terrible around this time of the year. But it would be these games that they win. It's not exactly cold enough for it to snow. It's gonna be kind of like wet. Kind of how it is here, like slush almost has fallen. They have the better running backs. This is something that Buffalo practices for.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Denver practices for it too, because like I said, here we get all 4 seasons in one day. Like I literally went out when my wife was getting ready to head out. I went out and started her car with no shirt on like this morning. It was like perfectly fine, and now it's snowing.
You'll get frostbite on your nipples, man. You better quit playing.
No, for real though, I'm a roll with Buffalo. Significantly better running backs. John Brown has been catching big yardage lately. You count on Cole Beasley to maybe find that pylon for you. Maybe grab a tutty. I like this team. I like them. They're gonna make it to the wild card, but stink it up there just because it's the Bills.
Good point.
Let's see here. Steelers, Bengals. This one's interesting. What are you thinking here?
It's funny. I mean, I don't think any of us at the beginning of the season thought the Bengals would be in line to have the number 1 pick. And how convenient for them. Hell, anyone looking for a quarterback? Well, you are in Cincinnati. Obviously already going to Finley, going to the bench. But, Mike Tomlin has played Cincinnati 25 times. He has beaten them 20 times, including 8 in a row. I mean, this usually last time they played was September 30th. It was a 27-3 game. Steelers romped them. I mean, we saw a life of Mixon. Oh, and you realize that touchdown Mixon ran again against the Raiders? That was the first rushing touchdown of the year for the Bengals. I mean, that's how sad that's been. First one, though. We're talking week 11. So, I mean, obviously Mason Rudolph dealing with he'll be dealing with something fun from New York, which people can look that up, which you hit me up to before the show started. Poor guy, you should have to go through that, especially if it's true. Of course, we're looking on milk cartons for Juju Smith-Schuster, as I warned all year. Like, I don't know if he's a number one. I got a glimpse of that last year when they set Antonio Brown down in a game they needed. Dude didn't show up. He had 40-some yards. Well, that's carried over into this year. Plus, he's banged up now. But even then, and that was just fantasy talk. Steelers, their defense is still doing it at a decent rate. +9, so optimistic. I mean, a +9 turnover ratio the Steelers have, going against a team with a -11. So you can imagine some turnovers are going to be in hand here. So I'll take the Steelers. Not much to say about that one. I believe it was only like a 6.5-point game. It's in Cincinnati, so they're saying Steelers is about a 10-point better team, but it's in Cincinnati, so it's about a 6.5-point game. But I'll take the Steelers winning this one, and even the cover if I had to pick.
I like it. I like the pick. My question is Mason Rudolph's football IQ going to be fully functionable there after 2 big hits this season? Yeah, how messed up is that for Mason Rudolph, by the way? He got Vontaze twice this year. He got twice this year. That is, you know how grown up, the kids, I used to say, Moss, you play football on the street, you catch the ball, Moss, yeah. Now that's going to be the new term, man. You just got birthed, bro. With that being said, I want to take the opportunity to rag on the Bengals for a hot minute. Like you said, none of us thought that was going to happen. We saw them probably a top 5 pick. And this is the way the NFL works. I mean, someone has to be at the bottom of the barrel. The fact that they don't have a single win, the fact that they're not even tanking the right way. And the way that they play football, and when you watch them on film, you're like, you're clearly not tanking. You're clearly not. That's what's even sadder. So it's like you're clearly not tanking. You're not trying to rebuild in the proper manner because you immediately pulled Finley. You see that the Dolphins have at least, maybe dabbled in between, Fitzpatrick, Rose, and here and there. We're like, Haskins it is. If you're going to rebuild, at least let the fans know that you're rebuilding. Cincinnati needs to go back to putting paper bags over their heads because they're clearly the inferior team in Ohio. In the words of Cat Williams, Cincinnati, Ohio, the dirtiest, nastiest, smelliest, beautiful place in America, with the winless team and a first-round pick in this year's upcoming draft. Steelers, whoop that ass because you got to prepare for the Browns next, and that's going to be a revenge game. Look for more players to be in comas in week 13. Tag, that was messed up. That was a dark joke. I should have never went there. Speaking of trash meets trash, Dolphins, Browns. I promise that we did not write this script this way. It
gets better, folks. It gets better as the game's going. We got some haymakers coming up. Don't worry.
What are we thinking for Dolphins Browns? The 2-win Dolphins.
The first thing that comes to mind for me is I have comfortably and correctly benched Odell Beckham in one of my leagues, in a 14-team league, and I've made the right decision every time. I've just benched him. I don't look back. But I'm bringing him out this week. He's coming out against the Dolphins. Because I got a bye week. I think Cook is on a bye week, Dalvin Cook. So I got to have an extra guy there. it's ugly. And I've actually started started Gallup with the Cowboys over Odell, and been right on. Dude, I mean, right on. And if I had started, I would have lost like 2 of those matchups had I not made that decision. I remember on this show, I was saying, hey, I'm getting to the point where I might start benching this dude. But anyway, ugly game. I mean, I thought Miami was actually going to cover against Buffalo last week because they had played well the 2 previous weeks. They had covered even before then, but they went back to being the Dolphins. This game, though, I think this is where no matter, even though the Browns have an ugly record or whatnot, this is where you start Chubb anyway. But I'm starting Odell this week. Like, dude, if you cannot get this done, I mean, come on, man. And by the way, on the other side, there's a player that reminds me of Corey Davis, but his elder, and has been 6 years in a row. We've been waiting for him to break out, but has Devante Parker finally broken out? He's the only receiver to throw to right now over there, and he was balling. He had 7 catches for a career high 135 yards last week. I mean, man, you look at this guy, you just look like, wow, look how tall and sleek and what an athlete he is, but he cannot get right. Has he finally gotten it right? I'm going to start him in daily fantasy this week. But to break it down, Cleveland wins this game. But look, some fantasy. Oh, and Balaj is out there. You know, there's no one else to run the rock. I mean, sometimes it's just about opportunity. And Devante took advantage of his opportunity. I wonder if Balaj can take advantage of his opportunity. But still, Cleveland wins.
You know, your whole segment there, I just want to say before I go, was just straight fire. Like, all right. That was really good. A lot of very valuable information. That's one of those, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, you're probably going to go back and rewatch that. Just like, let me make sure I got all of that.
There's a lot of love and hate in that deliverance.
But it was important, very well needed. And to add to it, you know, the Dolphins haven't, you know, looked like necessarily like too bad recently. I mean, especially since they secured that first win. Mm-hmm. Well, and when I say too bad, I mean in comparison to what they looked like, you know, during the first 8 games or so, first 6 games of the season. Gosh, you're right about Devante Parker. I do want to sit back now after hearing your take. I'm probably going to sit back and watch his tape a little bit more and just be like, wow, okay. Maybe you are breaking out. It's just hard to really pinpoint that because he's on a team like Miami.
Right.
Which is why maybe a lot of you out there in fantasy land may be fading this guy. Look, right now is the time in fantasy football that I'm encouraging and I'm employing all of you to do exactly what Raj just said. Seek opportunity. Kind of like you did at the beginning when you drafted your team. You drafted all those big name guys because usually at the beginning of the year, that's when they come out and they're you know, going, you know, with all the injuries and everything. And now, you know, a lot of guys that are big time are going to be getting benched so they can preserve their bodies for playoffs. You got to start thinking differently strategically. So maybe looking at a few of those Dolphins players, maybe, you know, Kalen Ballage, maybe a Devante Parker, guys that I was not high on earlier in the year, which I'm still not high on. So no one go and try and take that. Like, you flipped your take. But I am saying that they could help you win games given the time period of the NFL schedule currently. Rest of my case. And it's only going to get worse, by the way, deeper into November, deeper in December.
No, you're absolutely right. At this point in time of the year, you can't stress that enough. Opportunity. When opportunity knocks, there's names you haven't heard of or names you gave up on that all of a sudden they can carry you through the playoffs. And, you know, you ride a guy like that. If Devante plays any fraction of his potential or his half of it, I mean, he can get you in a championship game in your fantasy.
I know someone that dropped $21 in fat budget to go and get Bo Scarborough off the waiver wire.
A player like that will carry you.
Yup. So just a little perspective there. Next game that we have up for you guys. And the Saints go marching in. Panthers versus the New Orleans Saints. Divisional matchup. Last time the Saints had to face a divisional opponent, that was a lesser divisional opponent in the Atlanta Falcons. They failed that mission. What are we thinking here?
Yeah, you always got to be careful. I mean, everyone you hear divisional matchup, what does that mean? It means things like Rob just said. You face a team that's very familiar with you. Ish can happen. You know, things can go wrong. Remember last year in 2018, the first game, Tampa Bay in New Orleans. They lost. Tampa Bay wouldn't beat them. You know what I mean? But they seem to get rolling here. Drew Brees looks good. Another underwhelming superstar keeper in most leagues, Alvin Kamara. He's been, I know he had 122 scrimmage yards, but the touchdowns ain't there. People have been waiting his first couple years, or year and a half of starting. He had like 18 touchdowns. They're not coming this year. So I have him in one league, and I'm actually like fighting for a playoff spot. I'm fighting with, dude, I got a team league and only 12 teams. I got Zeke and Kamara, and I'm fighting for a spot, So sometimes you got to be careful with relying on touchdowns. But even then, I thought I could rely on, scrimmage yards. But it's, I'm going to struggle. Now, one guy isn't struggling, obviously, Michael Thomas. I mean, he's on record to shatter NFL reception records. On the other side, I've been riding DJ Moore recently. Really like him. And obviously, you got Christian McCaffrey in terms of when it comes to fantasy. He's Kyle Allen repellent. No matter how bad Kyle Allen does, McCaffrey seems to still roll. Having said that, I just don't see an upset in the offering. Both coaches is weird. Rivera's 8-8, Peyton's 12-12, so they've gone back and forth with each other.
Yeah.
But in terms of this year, New Orleans still good, 6-2 at home. Carolina only 2-5 on the road. I don't see them pulling off the upset here, although I do think it'll be somewhat entertaining for fantasy purposes, as we mentioned. But I'm going to have to go with the Saints on this one to win a division game. They see it there. They see it. They see their record. They know what 8-2 New Orleans. They want that bye week, so I think they're shooting for that. I don't think they'll look past a divisional opponent like this.
I like it. The Saints are definitely. Sean Payton is a coach that is not going to take this game lightly, especially having some back-to-back controversial kind of games. Not controversial in the essence of what they have dealt with before, in terms of Minnesota Miracle and the pass interference last year, but controversial in the essence of you're playing teams a little bit too close these last 2 weeks. And one of those teams, like I said, in the Falcons, beat you. The Atlanta Falcons beat you. That has to sting for the rest of the year. No matter, it's going to take 2 or 3 more wins. 2 or 3 more wins before they can get over that. If you want to look to do that, and you want to look to remove that black eye on your NFL season, then you need to do it against these Carolina Panthers. I want to point out something. It's pretty ironic that the quarterback has thrown one less touchdown than the running back of the Carolina Panthers, Christian McCaffrey with 11, Kyle Allen with 10. Like, that's
wow.
Yeah, so I mean, you're not going to be able to rely on the run in this game. The Saints defense is starting to wake up a lot more. Lattimore, I like what you're doing at corner. I like what you're doing at defensive back. Keep doing what you're doing, young man. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to roll with the Saints. I'm going to roll. Now, I'm not going with the spread at 9.5.
Okay.
Let's look at this probably being 4-point game, 4 or 5-point game somehow. Something weird's going to happen.
All right.
Raiders, Jets, the Raiders.
Do you know if Phillip Rivers didn't have that noodle arm and had just won that game, we would be talking about the first place in the NFC West Raiders? Who saw that coming? I definitely didn't see that coming, although from reading everything in the offseason, I thought that'd be a little bit better. And me giving Gruden the most flack for trading Mack. Mack, he might not have double-digit sacks for the first time since his rookie year. I think he only has about 5.5 sacks.
Yeah, that is true.
So who's laughing now? I mean, Gruden took those picks and got guys that are contributing, starting. Of course, Jacobs starting, leads rookies in rushing. But you're going against the Jets. Jets only put up 16 points a game. 170 Jets, only 250. The Jets -6 turnover ratio. The Raiders +2. But guess what? I'm going with the Jets to win this game. I think this is a dangerous game for the Raiders going back east, playing a bad team. Now, of course, they're not good enough where they can just take teams for granted, but I see this as a game. One thing that just been doing well, putting pressure on the quarterback. Derek Carr, he hasn't blown games for the Raiders, but he ain't winning them. He's not doing that well. Look at his stats. Like, he's not the reason they're winning. But in his credit, he's being managing the game, and he's not giving away games. But I think the pressure, I think Jamal Adams makes a big play or two from the Jets. I think they win this game. It's just one of those games that, it's not, we wouldn't be shocked by it, but things are great for the Raiders, but they're not yet to the point where they can just travel all the way back east, I think, and just beat a bad team. I almost think I'd feel better about the Raiders if they were playing a good team, but this is the time where they relax a little bit, maybe look ahead, for their division games coming up, and I think they take an L on this one. So give me the Jets here.
I like your take. And I would like it even more, and I would love it even more if I was picking the Jets for my take. Right? I'm going with the Raiders. By the way, one of my inspirations in football analytics. Shout out to Chris Berman. Thank you for continuing to inspire, by the way, too. I'm rolling with the Raiders for the simple fact. I mean, you know me. You brought in all the stats, and you had everything that validated your take. I'm a film guy. It just sucks I can't bring up film, and I don't have everything fancy right here. But if I could bring up film, one thing that I would want to point out is that yes, this Jets defense is very tricky. They show a lot of different disguises, especially because you got a guy like in Adams that can move around a lot back there at safety, and he can do a lot of different things and really get into the mind and the mental of a quarterback. With that being said, Derek Carr has 15 touchdowns on the year. That's 3 less than someone that we would talk about at the beginning of the show, and Deshaun Watson. You're not getting 15 touchdowns out of nowhere. You're not getting into playoff conversation, especially when no one thought that you were going to be there in the first place without something happening. Whether it's Josh Jacobs, whether it's Darren Waller stepping up at the tight end position, and we all know that Oakland has not had a tight end in years. A lot is changing for them. And it's swinging in the right direction. I like where this team is going. I cannot believe that I'm saying that. They have just impressed me on film when I compare them to the film of the Jets. The Jets are sloppy. I've ate sloppy Joe sandwiches that are more put together than the Jets.
All right.
Yeah. Right now the Raiders are they're like that girl that, back in the day, you remember back in your school days, there was that girl that, you called ugly, and you're like, man, you ugly, da-da-da-da-da-da. But then all of a sudden over summer, you don't see her at all. But she been doing the Pilates, she been right, something is in the water, and all of a sudden she comes back, you're like, dang, I take back everything. And now, you're with her, you're dating her. That's me with the Raiders right now. I like to glow up. I see what you're doing. Keep doing it, and maybe you can go somewhere in the playoffs. Maybe you at least win one game.
I like it. I hope so. It's a good story. It's a good story for the Raiders to do well. I just think this is one of those. It's a trap games. That's all.
I'm with it. No, like I said, great analysis. Very hard take for me to go ahead and go back against. That was good. Seahawks and Eagles.
Ooh.
Gosh. Now, I feel like this is a trap game. Go ahead.
See, it's funny you say that because, I like to guess point spreads before I see them. It's an exercise. It's a good exercise to do for myself. And if I see one that stands out, I used to be like, oh, wow, they got it wrong. Now I'm like, uh-oh, what do they know? Vegas. So on this one, I'm a little bit surprised. Philly's favored by 1.5. I know they're at home. But I'm like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? This team, come on. This 5-5 team is favored over 8-2 Seattle. The Seattle that is 5-0 on the road. They are road warriors, my man. It's just, and I like to put quarterbacks in tiers, and some of current, some of what I've seen them do. Mahomes, I put up to that last year, even though I haven't seen him in certain situations that I saw Aaron Rodgers in. But to me, Russell Wilson is in that top tier of quarterback. Just a winner, the way he moves, the way he throws on the run, his pinpoint accuracy, everything he does. Clowney finally busted out, and he only had 2 sacks on a year, I think, prior to this. So maybe he's starting away. You still got Wagner. They got a defensive team, Bobby Wagner, defensive playmakers. I still consist. It's so funny. Before the year came out, I was reading something. I love Pro Football Focus. And it might have even been them, but they like the best trio of receivers. And number one were the Eagles. Now, of course, one big part of that is the fact that Deshaun Jackson is out. But this receiving core is one of the weakest in the league, this Eagles receiving core. I don't know if Jordan Howard's going to go, but, I like Miles Sanders, but I just don't think it's enough. I'll take Pete Carroll, who's 4-1 against the Eagles. I'll take Pete Carroll, who gets these guys on the road and can win. And you're giving me a 1.5. Now, that makes it scary, but, man, I see the Eagles. I see the Seahawks winning this game. By the way, this morning on the show, Keyshawn asked me which one was the bigger bird. I don't know what that had to do with anything, but he's asking, like, which was the bigger bird? Dude, just I don't know.
Why do I feel like I haven't met him personally, but like from what I've seen, that is something he would definitely say. Oh my gosh.
Oh God.
I'm trying to get it together.
We were seriously talking about the game. And we were seriously trying to break down the game. He just thought, which one's the bigger bird? Like he was really concerned. Like, oh
man. It's the Seahawks. Bigger than the Eagles.
The Eagles stronger, and the Eagles a killer.
Yeah.
Seahawks eat scraps. The Eagles a killer, a hunter.
Before I go into my take, I gotta know, was Keyshawn trying to utilize this to validate who would have won?
I don't know. That's the thing. It might have been one of those random, silly thoughts that had nothing to do with nothing, but he just wanted to verbalize it on live air out loud to everyone. But he interrupted things, and two, it just might have been part of his take. Well, he loves Pete Carroll because of the SC ties, and he loves Russell Wilson. But it was just like, we all stopped, like, what the hell are you talking about, man? We answered it, but,
I love it. And because of those USC ties, I'm going to make you happy right now, brother. I'm picking the Seattle Seahawks. I'm rolling with Pete Carroll. Just so much more of a better coach. Like, I know what I see when I watch. I know what anyone that's ever picked up a pair of pads and a pair of cleats sees when we watch. But man, I would love to pick up that playbook and just be like, you came up with this? Like, what? The man is a mad scientist, and when you have someone that's a mad scientist as your head coach, and then you have weapons to where literally you can just chuck the ball to them, i.e. Tyler Lockett, and it doesn't matter if it's anywhere where they can just, if their breath can touch it, their hands are secured on it. I'm infatuated with this offense, with the way that it doesn't matter what personnel goes down. Will Disley goes down. Oh, bring in Jake Hollister. We're still gonna re-sign Luke Wilson, but then we're just gonna use him as a decoy. And really, Hollister's the guy that's acting as a tight end plus a fullback. Like it's all crazy. The schemes, everything like that, and because of all the exotic looks that Pete Carroll can throw at you, I'm taking him. Plus, 23 TDs, dangerous.
And when it's a close game like this, Rob, I go coach and quarterback, and for me, the Seahawks clearly have an edge in both. But it just worries me. Why does Vegas have Philly 1.5? It's like they're begging you to take Seattle. They're begging you to take it, and it's like that's what scares me sometimes.
I feel like we're trapped on a show, like calling this game, like a picking this game called "Are You Smarter Than Las Vegas?"
Yeah.
I think we're gonna win this one.
Okay. All right.
Why do I feel like we're about to text each other Sunday? I'm like, what did we do?
See now, so for last week, one of those where Cleveland was favored against the Steelers. And at first, people are like, "Oh, Steelers!" I know a lot of people, including And we didn't do that, but Keith thought that, Steelers, Mike Tomlin going to go in there and the Steelers would roll in, and it was like, Vegas have Cleveland favored, though. I mean, it's like, I went with Cleveland. That time I trusted Vegas, and I was right.
I would pick Cleveland in that one. Before we get into the next game, I do we have two fantasy questions.
All right.
Who do you like better as a flex play? Mike Honcho, your picture, I can't get over it. Who do you like better as a flex play this week in PPR, Ertz or Sutton? Oh, we all know, for me personally, I'm going to go Sutton all day. Like, I've always said, Cortland Sutton's that wide receiver. You say his name 3 times like Beetlejuice, like Candyman, and the words of Tupac, you rolling on your ass like an avalanche. If that dude is on any playoff contending team, completely different outcome.
Look at them both, and in a vacuum, I'm saying, but then when I know the presence of Dallas Goedert, to me, Sutton doesn't have a peer in that team. Some games, Ertz isn't even the best at his position on his own team because he's sharing. To me, it's Sutton all day. I know Buffalo has a good pass defense, but I'll take Sutton in that one. That's a fairly easy one for me.
And also with that, guys, I encourage you to also just watch Cortland Sutton's tape. Like, the dude catches with his eyes. Like, he's a carbon copy of Tyler Lockett, just a little bit taller. The next one that we have is I need a flex pick out of these: Michael Gallup, Julian Edelman, Marvin Jones.
Gallup came off a huge game, obviously. Where do you land on this? Let me ask you a question, Rob, and this is me. So I look at the Patriots. I know how good their secondary is, but I also look at their opponents and playing the AFC East and a couple teams twice, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bills. They've had a sort of a pancake schedule. Do you think their secondary is that good, or is it based off of their opponents, they're being the Patriots?
It's a combination of both. They do have athletes on that side of the ball. Stephon Gilmore, I mean, he really does play tough at the defensive back position. Same with the McCoy twins. So, I'm not going to sit there and say that it's not that good, but they have had an easy schedule, which is going to make them look a lot worse than what they did before. Still fantasy relevant defense. Yeah. Is it maybe a defense that today you could probably go get some skill positions for and then switch over to streaming defenses? That's definitely not a bad strategy. That could actually work out in your favor if someone's take a defense.
Well, that just gets like in a vacuum this butcher's block. But because the Cowboys are going against that, I just worry if they do put Gilmore on Gallup, I'm going to go with Marvin Jones for this one. I just don't think that the Washington Redskins have anyone that can handle Jones. And even if Driscoll starts, I like Jones for this particular week. A normal week, I would say Gallup, because if you look, Dak trusts the hell out of Gallup. They've got 2 years, second year together, and if anyone's on Cooper, if they double or if they got Slay, Darius Slay, who did a damn good job on Cooper last week, what did he do? Turn to Gallup, and they won the game easily that way. Not easily, excuse me, but Gallup won his matchup. But this week, you're talking this week, that's what fantasy is, week to week. I trust more. Just worried about the shutdown potential. That's all on Gallup.
The only real thing that you're realistically worried about, Landon Collins per PFF, I believe he's ranked. He's rated like a 90 or something like that. And that's really the only thing that you're worried about. Then there's also Dunbar as well, who's also pretty high up in that ranking. But they're likely to be on Kenny Golladay, and maybe you have Collins kind of just shadow in between the two. Which, by the way, why we go single high safety, I don't fucking know. This is the NFL. That's stupid. I am going to side with Jones, though, just because there's not enough personnel and because of the type of defense that we've run that I just mentioned. But you're going to go ahead and pick Jones. That throw was for our defensive scheme, by the way, not because of the pick, Bobby.
Love the fantasy questions, though.
Yeah,
I love those questions.
All righty, so getting back into picks. Jaguars. Duval travels to the city of country music to take on the Tennessee Titans. What you thinking, brother?
This again there's some games where I'm like, wow, I can see this going either way, but that's not the answer. That's not why we do this. People want to pick. Whoo. This game, I mean, both teams can lay an egg at any time. Both teams can overachieve and all of a sudden come out and do some things. I like both running backs, Henry and Fournette. Gosh, as a tiebreaker, Foles 296, 2 touchdowns, interception last week. I'm going to go with the Jaguars on this one, former Super Bowl champ Nick Foles, and I'll go with DJ Chark. I think Jacksonville can pull this game out. I do worry about Henry on this having a quiet game, and then all of a sudden bursting out like in a short catch and run or something. But I'll take Jacksonville in this game. One I'm not terribly confident about because I think they're both just equally inconsistent and inept at times. But I'll take Jacksonville in the AFC South battle.
What's so crazy here, especially about what you just said. And I kind of want to maybe take away people's fear this week of what they're going to do with Henry and state that, yeah, like I feel it. Like I just feel that in the universe that this is going to be like his weird week, and everyone that knows and has watched the show, I've never been high on Derrick Henry. He's never been a guy that I've told you guys to run out and go and get. When we started this year and we kicked it off, I let you guys know, like, yeah, I'm not picking him. I'll make sure that he falls to you though. I feel like that could happen. The Jaguars are going to win this game. We did worry about BJ Shark's production possibly dropping when Foles came back. I like what Shark did last week. 3 more yards. He's at an 800-yard season. He will definitely have a 1,000-yard season this year, I feel. I'm going to roll with Shark. I'm going to roll with the Jags. I'm going to say you guys definitely put Shark in your lineups. Oh, and according to Nick Howard, the Garrett suspension upheld.
Okay.
Well, I figured that was going to happen after he reached the way that he
Wait, but is upheld mean indefinitely still, or do we have a end date? Like, that's what I thought they would do. They would just say, okay, upheld throughout the season. So that's Myles Garrett indefinite. It's the indefinite part is upheld, so it's still going to be open-ended there. So I thought for sure they would give themselves a date and say, okay, you're okay for week 1, but that's not set in stone.
Let me see if I don't have any new updates.
I do. I just checked it out. So it's the indefinite part is upheld.
Okay. And then Pouncey reduced from 3 games to 2 games. All righty, cool. Let's see here. And I did just go ahead and put that out on Twitter, guys. So if you need to see the update yourself, see it, feel it, touch it, hit us up on Twitter at Rumboyz, spelled with Z-A-N-T. And then follow Raj, just how his name is spelled. Cowboys Patriots. So really quick, let me go ahead and plug one of my partner channels. And shout out to Rumboyz Northeast, Butcher's Block and Patriots Talk, because it is you guys' Cowboys Hate Week, and he's been doing a lot of promo for Cowboys Hate Week, and he'll be working with a big YouTube Cowboys content creator tonight. He'll have all the details for you guys. But yeah, what are we thinking here? And I hope that you got some takes that'll piss Bobby off.
Well, so we spoke of, all right, let's start here. Wide receivers. I see you there, Butch. Wide receivers. Name me we talked to the Eagles trio, which at the beginning of the year was supposed to be the best trio. Now, granted, they're out with Deshaun Jackson. Name me a better trio this year than the Dallas Cowboys. Receiving core with Cooper, Gallup, and Cobb. And opinion-wise, I know you play receiver, Rob. So do you know of a better trio in the NFL right now than those 3?
I would have said, before like the Falcons or like the Browns. I mean, you guys are being effective right now. So based off of how effective you're being, I could say that. I could say that.
Wade Cooper, Cobb turns up with 115 yards, Gallup over 150 almost, So I think they're the best trio. You obviously got Zeke. You got Dak, who, me at the beginning, I'm saying he's an average quarterback. I think he's played himself into the top 10. I'll give him that. I can always admit, now I want to see it against a big team. Robert Quinn has been a godsend for us on a defensive end. I mean, another 2 sacks, 2 tackles for losses last week. Michael Bennett had 2 sacks last week. This defensive line, and I haven't even mentioned DeMarcus Lawrence. Brady is struggling. I watched this game last week against the Eagles. I saw they just you make Brady move his feet a little bit, Rob. He is not the same. I'd see him miss easy throws across the middle, 8-yard crosses that he usually nails. Underthrew a deep guy. He doesn't have the deep arm, but at the end of the day, they got this guy, Bill Belichick, who's 5-1 against the Cowboys. And you're telling me Bill Belichick versus Jason Garrett, I can't pick against Bill Belichick. I mean, when it comes down, I know you got all the talent, the Cowboys. I don't see Jason Garrett out coaching Bill Belichick. And I hope to God this gets Garrett fired, even if you do it this year. But I will take the Patriots in this game. Now, I do think the Cowboys have talent to cover. It's a 6.5-point spread. If you can get it at 7, take it. I think the Cowboys have the talent to cover and to stay in the game. But I don't see them making the right plays at the right time, calling the right plays with their coaching to win this game. So I'll take the Patriots and a struggling Tom Brady. Their offense, oh my goodness, it is you watch the Patriots offense, it is a grind to get down the field. They're usually running the ball. They haven't been able to rely on the run. But their defense keeps them in games and their coaching. So I'll have to stick with that formula and the Patriots win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but Jason Garrett is not. He's not coached his way out of this game. Now, is this a game where I think that he could get fired off of? I don't think that this one would be, whether it happens during the season or at the end of the season. I don't think this is a game to where he is going to. Where he's going to go. Like you're not expected to come into Gillette and win anyways. Like it's just,
Tell Jerry that with all that talent and possibly an MVP consideration quarterback. Like Jerry don't believe that. Now I don't. Of course he won't get fired. I mean I'm speaking facetiously,
right?
But it puts him on the hot seat. I just think this is with all that talent and all the accolades and with Zeke and with the quarterback having a career year, with the trio of receivers. This is what Jerry expects the Cowboys to go in and do. He expects them to win this game. And the only thing he's going to be saying that we don't have, why didn't we win this game? Coaching.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the Patriots purely because of coaching. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You guys have kind of, been hot and then cold and hot and cold and hot and cold. You guys are so game to game. This is going to be you'll lose this one. Who do you guys have next week?
After this, we're back in a division, I believe. So this is one where we go out and we go back to our division. I don't remember who, but I know it's a division game.
Exactly. So I mean, and if that's the case, and if that's what's happening, for the Cowboys, you'll take the L this week. Kind of how it's been going, flip flopping for you guys. So Nick Howard really wants to know. He's like, I don't think he lied. He says, I don't think he lied. He'd rather reach about the whole Myles Garrett thing.
Oh, okay.
I hit a button. I look. He's just trying to get back in the NFL. That's all I'm gonna say. He's just trying to get back in the NFL. He just wants to play ball. That's it. He'll play next year. He'll be this season and then good.
Got desperate.
Yeah. That's what I think. Raj, anything you wanted to add?
And I lied. The Cowboys don't. They have the Bills on Thanksgiving. So the Bills, not a divisional game. We stay in there. The Bills come to Dallas. Anything on that? No, I want to see more. You're the first to tell me about that a little bit, but I just think it was maybe in the heat of moment you think you hear something, but I don't know. It's the first I heard of it, so I don't think so. And you said you've looked back and you can't see. We know there's certain words. I don't know how to read lips, but I know how to read that word off people.
Yeah, I don't want to read all of them.
I haven't seen it, so no, I ain't seen it, man. I can't say it.
It's all good. It's all good. He'll be back next year, like I said, guys.
All right.
Packers 49ers Sunday Night Football.
Oh, gosh, we get to the good part, man. This one I'm excited to see. Like both teams, good at home, good on the road. San Fran is they took 1 L. I think their 1 L was at home. Packers 3-1. Interesting thing with the Packers. So remember a couple weeks ago they were out here to play the Chargers. They came out 2 days early. Coach let them come out 2 days early. Didn't work too well. Sometimes people get in LA, they don't know how to act. So they laid an egg against the Chargers. This week he's coming out the day before. He's not doing that crap this time. So it's a business trip for the Packers this time, even though up north is nothing like LA, but still it's California. I think it's going to be an intriguing game. Jimmy G, everyone's saying, hey, what are you going to do? Can you win a game? Because the defense and running game is winning a good game. Well, it's another time. He put up a career high 424, 4 touchdowns last week. Again, he had to win the game. He did it. I'm not saying I'm a believer in Jimmy G, but I'm not a doubter in Jimmy G either.
Yeah.
I do like the other Aaron leading the Packers. I like that approach where Aaron Jones leads the Packers. Devante Adams is going to be healthy. This is a game, my goodness. You could toss this up. I think what is the spread? Was it 3.5, something like that?
Well, it's at 3 flat.
Yeah, okay. 3.5 San Fran, obviously the favorite. Listen, if you're getting 3 points in a game like this, obviously they're saying both teams are equal. I'm taking the points and I'll take Green Bay. But when you ask me for a winner, I think there's some holes in that defense we didn't notice before. And I think Aaron Rodgers, you can run on the 49ers. And I think Aaron Rodgers understands that. And so does Matt LaFleur. And they will run the ball and use Aaron Rodgers when they need him. So I'm going to go for the upset here, man. I'm going to take the Packers to cover and obviously win. If I was in Vegas, man, I had to do all out, like you just had to pick 2 straight up money lines. I'm taking Seahawks and I'm taking Packers and just parlay those 2.
Yeah, I like those 2. I like those 2 as well. Probably more entertaining for you. Actually, no, I'd probably say I don't know. Probably say the Packers, 49ers, and as well as the Ravens, Rams. Ravens.
Okay.
That one's gonna be pretty good. So Packers 49ers, I'm gonna go ahead and pick the 49ers to win just because I feel like that front defensive line is just they're just stacked. They're ready to rock and we're ready to roll. 49ers haven't given me a reason to pick against them, and I've picked against them before on this show, and I've been wrong. So I'm gonna roll with the high hand here, and I'm gonna pick them. You are absolutely correct though about every single thing that you stated about the Packers. And there are some holes, especially deeper down the field that Aaron Jones is probably going to eat. Pass catching back out of the backfield, especially in that secondary level. No Quan Alexander, he's out the rest of the year for the 49ers, like we've discussed before. Like when that all took place. We don't know if George Kittle's going to play still.
Oh yeah.
So that's a big that's a factor. To me, that's a big factor when you're against a big opponent like the Green Bay Packers. This is possibly very well could be a matchup that we see later on. So sit back, grab your popcorn, grab your beer, turn on the Rumboyz, mute your TV, let us call the game, and it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, you might see this in a divisional round of the playoffs for sure. A rematch here.
Yep, I like it. And now, Monday Night Football, ladies and gentlemen. The Ravens versus the Rams. Before we go into this, can we not put the Rams on primetime anymore? Because that whole Rams debacle, I was like, yep, I was on the football field yesterday. My body's tired. I'm going to sleep. Like I got through like the first couple of drives, and I was like, yeah, I already see how this is going to go. Then I woke up and I was like, yep, I was right.
Yeah. Yeah, this is obviously an interesting game here. One thing, some insight, I was talking to DeMarco Farr today, former Ram, a defensive lineman, won a Super Bowl back with the greatest show on turf. Mm-hmm. So Woods is still going to be out dealing with a family issue. Doesn't look like Cooks is coming back for this game. So they kind of flip-flop there. And he was like, he brought up how each concussion gets easier and easier to have. And that last one wasn't a concussion-type hit, but he suffered one, so he's a little worried there. I brought up a segment on the show today. The best way to stop Lamar Jackson, the Rams' best hope, their best tool, their best weapon, is going to have to be Todd Gurley. You got to keep Lamar off the field. So we finally got to see, and Keyshawn called it last week. You know, you and I didn't get to show. He said Gurley's going to get the rock 25 times because he's starting to complain. And he did. He got 25 touches, 133 scrimmage yards. That's their best chance, there being the Rams. However, you see Lamar, you see the MVP. He knows the bright lights are on. I just don't see how you're going to stop this dude. I think the Ravens defense is good enough to frustrate Goff, who isn't having a good season at all. I see the Ravens, who I believe are 3-point favorites, 3.5-point favorites. I see them winning this game. It's not an upset. It's Monday night. I know Aaron Donald is a beast, but I'll have to take the Ravens and the MVP, Lamar Jackson, in this game.
Yeah, I'm on with the MVP. I've said it millions and millions of times. You know, the only when you have the most explosive player getting the ball from the moment of the snap on your team, that greatly fluctuates the flow of the game and you know how things go. So with that being stated, I'm rolling with Lamar and the Ravens. I was asked yesterday, do you start Hollywood Brown in this one? I'm still not sure, and I'm actually gonna side towards no, because Ramsey's gonna be covering him, highly likely. But any one of those three tight ends, roll with. You know, the Rams, get it together. You guys do not look like Super Bowl contenders. You guys don't look like a team that was in the Super Bowl last year. Teams that have figured you out and figured out how to plan and coordinate for you, like you said, if they want to beat the Ravens, then I'm sorry, Rams, you guys aren't going to want to hear this because of, you know, a whole futuristic outlook. You know, those people that are like really diehard, you know, fans that know football, know the importance of kind of keeping a player like that. You good, Raj?
Oh yeah. No. What do you mean?
You trying to hold back a sneeze?
Oh, yeah, I was going to sneeze. Yes.
No, I saw that. I've been seeing it.
Why are you telling my business? No one knew.
I just saw the faces. I was like, damn, that's an intense sneeze. But I mean, you know, with that being stated, you know, you guys, the Rams aren't looking hot right now. I don't even remember what the hell I was saying.
See, that's what you get for being nosy.
I should have never looked over. Like, I looked and I was like, this is why. Now you notice why me and Ty don't look at each other when we're recording. Because we'll be like, shit.
I held it in, though. I held it in.
Yeah. That's what I got. Oh, but like I was saying, no, you're right, though. You know, well, Rams fans are not going to like hearing it. You got to pound Todd Gurley into the ground if you guys are going to stand any chance at winning this, because you got to use – and you need vintage Todd Gurley at that for every single snap. That's how you'll be able to beat the Ravens. But other than that, sorry, Rams, Baltimore's going to win. All righty. Well, other than that, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have any other fantasy questions, hit us up on Twitter. I will definitely get them all answered for you. Raj runs the show. If you want to message Raj for fantasy questions, I'm sure he'll help.
I love answering fantasy questions. Yeah, I went 4-0 last week in my league, so that's a rare 4-0. Like you know, and you went all 4.
Yeah.
I didn't wind up going with Geis in that match. Remember, you and I were talking about him or Miles. But if Jordan Howard's out, I got to go with Miles. But it's weird. I think Darius Geis will have another he didn't have a lot of carries, which I like, getting carries. But at the same time, if you're Washington, do you want to run him right now?
No, there's no
Derek,
point. No, there's no point.
For what?
Get healthy.
Yeah, I don't get it either. So anyway, yeah, I got a lot of little running back, like you say, Bo coming in, and then who's going to be the man in Indianapolis now with Matt going down. So it's like time. Yeah, it's interesting, but it'll be fun.
Nyheim Hines with Matt going down, you go get Nyheim Hines. There's no.
Hines, I don't think they want to use him like that. See, I think it's going to be Williams or someone. Hines he's just a little bitty, and they want to use him as that like Cohen type role, that Sproles type role. Yeah. I don't see them running him between the tackles. I think that's where someone else is going to be the guy for that.
I've been shooting for a while now, so I think that's why. I think I'm rolling there because of bias, just because of what I've seen from his college film. So I think that's where it is.
All right.
We'll see Sunday. And then we'll debate it later in the week.
Yeah, of course.
Well, other than that, Raj, what do you guys got going down out there in Los Angeles tomorrow?
Well, today we talked a lot. My Celtics came out last night. We took an L. It was a great game. I don't know if you stayed up late to watch that Clippers-Celtics game, but it's rivalry week. I don't know why it's always hard for me to say. But USC versus UCLA football game. It's one of those bittersweet things. SC hopes they win because he's still alive for the Rose Bowl, and it's such a big rivalry. But then they hope they lose because they obviously want a new coach and they want Helton out of there. So it's an interesting week. So we'll talk a lot about that. There's always some NBA to talk, and obviously we're going to be previewing these big NFL weekend. But the Rams, basically their playoff hopes are on the line. I mean, they can't afford to lose another one. And I see you there, but just the Cowboys, big game, but Garrett ain't ready for these type of games. We'll lose, and I'm already accepting the fact it's fine. Eagles suck, so we'll win the division. We'll win one meaningless divisional game and lose again or we'll win the wild card round, and we'll lose in the division. I know how this goes. It's like Groundhog's Day for a Cowboy fan. I don't even get excited.
Hell yeah. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I will have you guys covered play-by-play Thursday night football here on the Rumboyz Fantasy Network. Make sure that you guys hit the bell and you're notified. You get your notifications whenever I start that up. Be sure to head over to rumboyz.com. The holiday line is out and available, limited edition Rumboyz holiday gear. And then also, just tons of stuff. We got the Pirate Gang collection. Rumboyz Northeast has his own gear. Rumboyz Central has his own gear. Rumboyz Northeast has a pair of socks. Like, go get a pair of socks. We got everything. Cell phone case, you name it. So yeah, bro. Let's check it out.
Are they crispy proof?
Are they what?
Are the socks crispy proof?
There's some good quality socks. I know you probably want to get all crunchy.
Go ahead, man.
Other than that,
children are listening.
Right. Oh my God! I just got what you just said. Now I really got. I was like, yeah, your feet. God, like they're waking protected. Nah, but oh my gosh, Bobby, there you go. There's your sales pitch to sell some socks, bro.
There you go.
But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, Rumboyz After Dark tomorrow night, the Drunken Sports Talk debate show with me and the wonderful Rumboyz panel, the whole family. Other than that, we thank you guys for chilling with us. Cheers to me. Cheers to you. All the Rumboyz and girls, what it do. Dilly. We are out of here. Peace.